Hi, and welcome to my channel. I'm so excited that you're here with me today. My name is Millicent, also known as Image Diva, because everything about image matters, whether you think so or not. But, I'm here to prove that to you. So, if you're new to my channel, let me let you know this channel has been existing since 5 years and is growing organically. All right? I love to make sure that the people that follow me are those that intentionally want to follow me for the right reasons. So that's why I said organic. I'm not one of those who writes about sensationalized news just to make some quick bucks out of it. No, I am not a content builder for gossips per se, or news such as who is beating up their wives, or who is going to jail for sleeping with other people's interest, or who is changing their gender from male to female, those kind of stuff. If you're here for such gossip, this will not be your channel. The only reason that P. Diddy, Sean Puffy's Combs news is trending in my field, or that I'm even interested in it, is because of all the lessons that there are to learn, not even just for the younger generations, but also for adults, like parents of children who are interested, who their children are interested in going into entertainment industry, how they need to protect their children, how they can do better. That is why I'm putting it out there, and you're going to see a series of it. This is just the beginning. So if you do not know who P. Diddy is, I will introduce you. Can you believe that? I was asking a couple of people the other day. I was like, oh, what do you think about what happened to P. Diddy and all the strange things? We used to love his music. We used to dance. Every step I take, every move I make, I'll be missing you, and all that, when he sang that song in tribute to Biggie, Notorious B.I.G., who passed away, unfortunately, at a very tender age. He's one of his best friends and business partners. But do you know that even Puff Daddy stole the beats and the lyrics from Sting, popular Sting, and he's paying $1,000 daily for that up till now. And I heard that from Sting say so in an interview. So he didn't consult Sting before he took his music, and there are so many evidence to show that P. Diddy wasn't very talented music wise, and that's why all his music that you've seen are collaborations. We'll dive into that later. But I was saying, as I asked those ladies, a couple of people, and they live in the United States of America, none of them knew who Puff Daddy is. I was shocked. Sean Diddy, Puffy, Sean Combs, none of the names rang a bell. I didn't know, if to be impressed that the fact that they did not know who Puff Daddy is, like they're not into gossip or entertainment news or care about anything besides going to church, But later I thought about it, and I said, no, awareness is very important. It is very good to be aware, even if they didn't have children, and they do. What about their nieces, their nephews, relatives, and all that? Wouldn't you, if your sister's kids, or your brother's children, or your uncles and all that, cousins and all, are interested in pursuing a career in the entertainment industry, doesn't matter where it is, but they want to relocate to like Hollywood or Nollywood, Bollywood, all the woods, and they want to pursue a career in singing or acting, and they needed mentors or role models, wouldn't you like to know who would be the best possible mentor coach out there for such a person? Look at what happened to Justin Bieber, and everybody is crying. As we don't know. They're blaming the parents now. Why would you leave a 13-year-old or a 14-year-old with someone like P. Diddy and Usher and all that, and just leave them to live with those people, for years, couple of years, and they're all traumatized. You know the story, but if you don't, I'll cover some, and some you'll have to go look, research yourself, either on Google or YouTube. All you have to do is just um, drop their names in there, and make sure that you are in the right channel that will give you the right news, because some people just write about gossips and just want to make a quick buck. So that's not who I am. What I am, like I said, my name is Image Diva, and all about lifestyle news that can challenge you to be better than who you were before. My calling is to make sure that our relationships help you be a better version of who you are, and how to live a more successful a life that is brings you lasting happiness. So I'll be talking about things about how your image and relationships with friends and family can affect you adversely or positively. Like recently, I just did something about being your real self, not your fake self. Stop projecting multiple personalities, different places, especially when you use it to hurt other people, right? So I also talk about mindsets, how powerful their membranes in your mindset are. And if you have an open mindset and you're able to manipulate it in the right direction, they can transform your thinking process into a more stronger, positive way that makes you know that you have the ability to achieve, a lot of things. And that process will help you reach and exceed your goals. Also, I talk about self-esteem issues. There are a lot of people out there that have low self-esteem, and in relationship, in their jobs, in their personal day-to-day life. People put them down all the time, and they just sit down there. They're in toxic relationships because they feel that they cannot do better, right? I talk about things like that, empowering yourself, self-development. I'm a coach, and I can do one-on-one with you. You have to reach out to me. Also, I do other inspiring movies. So we're going to move on. Today I'm going to be talking, it's going to be part one and part two, because it's going to be pretty long. I'm a storyteller. I love to tell stories, and I'm good at it. I'm sure if you've stayed this long with just an introduction, or you've been following me. Yes, I also have proof. I was a journalist for some years, and working towards having my podcast and a talk show. So many projects in the making. So just stay with me, because I like to know all those that were with me from day one, from, humble beginnings. So, but I wrote a book. Yes, I wrote a book this year. A few months ago in June, I came out with a book, nonfiction, titled Act Like You Already Won: The Mindset of Successful People. Diminish Your Fear Now. For those who are not happy where they are, and but are kind of clueless or need a little push to get to the next level, I have written a book for you. Go find it on Amazon.com. Most people that P. Diddy did terrible things to, like sexually abuse them, drug them, raped them, got them beaten up, took their music rights, did other terrible things to, were too afraid to come up and challenge him or report, for fear of, obvious repercussions, such as being blacklisted in the industry, or being even murdered. There were so many rumors about what he has done to people who dare to challenge him. The first person that was bold enough to speak up was Wendy Williams, the Wendy Williams talk show. And now we're beginning to understand why all those stuff happened to Wendy. People said that Wendy faked her own illness just to escape being murdered by Puff Daddy. Don't know if that particular rumor is true, but Wendy did have some tapes, very incriminating tapes on P. Diddy when she allegedly attended one of those breakups and she was shocked at what she saw and taped it. But that time was such a long time, many years ago, decades ago, that those tapes weren't very clear and people didn't believe that, even though it was obvious that, what she said was true. Wendy seen P. Diddy having some sexual relationships with other men and other stuff that they were doing, drugging and all that. But the news, the rumor was enough to infuriate P. Diddy. That should tell you that the news about P. Diddy freak-offs, with men and women and drugs and minors and all that was true. And P. Diddy was infuriated and he sent threats to Wendy's place of work and told the management that if Wendy wasn't fired immediately, that he was going to take necessary actions, which also included blacklisting the company and making sure that his powerful connections in the industry no longer advertised or did send commercials to assist the talk show. And you know that without those advertisements and commercials, then the show is literally dead. And of course, Wendy was fired within 24 hours. That was really terrible. She lost her job of 55,000 per episode, which is about $10 million a year. And of course, that caused her illness to exacerbate. And she also followed with her man, her ex-husband, who left her for a younger woman, you know, not even being concerned about her health, was trying to manipulate her for more support, spousal support. It was a lot, but today is not about Wendy Williams. It's just to let you know how powerful P. Diddy was then. We're going to talk about what crime Little Rod, Rodney Jones, who calls himself Little Rod, a musician, producer that worked with P. Diddy on his Love album, the Love album, Off the Grid. He started that contract with P. Diddy in September of 2022, and it lasted till about November of 2023. But like I've said in my former introduction, that Little Rod filed a lawsuit that he was abused sexually, molested, forced to sleep with sex workers. He was drugged. He was held captive against his will, and he witnessed a lot of horrible things. So just to be accurate, I documented some of these things down. So I will read some of that to you now. In 2022, Rodney Jones Jr., popularly called Little Rod, a musician and record producer from Chicago, was hired by Puffy Combs to work on the album, the Love album, Off the Grid. It was released in 2023. The 38-year-old has strong roots in gospel community, and he made headlines early this year in February of 2024 when he filed a $30 million lawsuit against the embattled hip-hop bad boy record producer Sean Diddy Combs on charges of sexual harassment, drugging him, and forcing him to sleep with sex workers, and withholding his payments. Little Rod, in an explosive interview to Rolling Stone, shared more details. He called Puffy Combs, a monster. He claimed that he began to work on that album with P. Diddy in September of 2022, and that even after he finished, he was left broke. And all the things that he had to go through, he said that PDD made him to file a lawsuit so that PDD can pay him for damages and also the money that he was owing him for the album. He says, um, I am trying to figure out how the bills are going to get paid. Yeah, I am standing up for justice, for what I believe is right for my life, and I'm being punished for that. I am blackballed for sure. What he's talking about is that most people didn't believe him when he first when he first came out with a lawsuit, because they thought, oh, here's another person looking for a quick a quick scam to get rich, quick rich scam. And everybody thought, it could not be true, even though Cassie's case had already come out. Cassie Ventura, who was with P. Diddy for up to 10 years, her case came up. She also alleged the same sexual abuse, beatings, rapings, and molestation and human trafficking that she observed Puff Daddy carry out during the time that they were together, and so many other allegations. But her case was settled out of court, and Little Rod thought he could get that settlement as well, but turned out that the lawyers were not going to go down that route. They decided they would fight it, and that made Little Rod fight for set up a GoFundMe account so that he can pay some of the bills. And first time he was asking for about $50,000 to help him pay some of those legal fees, but later thought that it can even get up to $300 when he did some further research if the case was to go to trial. Let's see. So Little Rod claims in his lawsuit filings that he witnessed Mr. Combs lace liquor with ecstasy. He used some staff members like Brenda Paul and Mon Baun, Baun, to lace the drinks of the staff and sex workers. Remember, Brenda Paul was caught recently, after a raid was done in P. Diddy's home, and he was arrested for drug charges. If he is to squeal, he is going to bring out a lot of more messy details that we did not know about P. Diddy. And this will collaborate all Cassie Ventura was saying, and Little Rod, and the security officers that worked with P. Diddy at the time, Gene Deal and Roger Bond. At least 5 women at one of P. Diddy's freak-offs who appeared, young ladies who appeared to be under 16 years. And this made him very uncomfortable. He didn't want to be there, but he said that Diddy forced him to be there against his will. All right. I wanted to leave, he told Rolling Stone magazine during an interview, but Diddy took his keys. He said that he has never misplaced his keys ever, but that day he wanted to leave. He looked for his keys all over the place. He couldn't find his car keys, so he couldn't leave. That was his own explanation for being present where they were having the freak-offs. People will say, why did you stay? Why didn't you leave? And even if you can't find your keys, couldn't you lock yourself up in a room, right? Like, go hide, don't partake in it. But I think he probably enjoyed the party atmosphere, and we were still hoping that he would be connected with those powerful people in the industry, because he said that Diddy made him a lot of promises that he was going to win awards, he was going to introduce him to powerful people, so that it was just like all those mentees looking forward to a better life. So he was probably lured a little bit by the lifestyle, but coerced into doing things that he didn't want to partake in, which is like the sex worker stuff. So he said that one day, the day that he was uncomfortable and couldn't find his keys, he said in his own words, I looked everywhere. I didn't know P. Diddy hid them. The next thing I remember is waking up in bed naked next day next to two sex workers. In another account, he said that P. Diddy was in bed with him and they were naked and he panicked. Apparently, Little Rod took some photographs as evidence because people keep thinking that that is absurd, that those things couldn't have happened. But he said if necessary, he would use them as proof in court. All right. So, some people claim that Little Rod was a willing participant in the freak-offs, that he initially agreed for all the goodies that Diddy promised, like winning an award on the Love album and introducing him to big names in the industry. However, I think that Little Rod was coerced against his will and he was blackmailed, like other mentees like Justin Bieber, like Usher was, like so many women, Cassie, Ventura, and other people that like Maze, who worked with him in that More Money, More Problem album. And so many allegations are out there. If you have time, you can do your own personal research, right? Let's move on. So some of the crimes that Little Rod said that he witnessed Sean Combs do while he was there between September 22nd and November 23rd were: I witnessed Mr. Combs provide laced alcoholic beverages to minors and sex workers. These are strong allegations. At his homes in California, New York, Virgin Islands, and Florida. Little Rod also claims he witnessed Mr. Combs' son, Christian Combs, drug and sexually assault a stewardess while they were out on a yacht on Christmas holiday 2022 in St. Barthélemy, St. Martin, and Virgin Islands. They had a makeshift studio in the yacht, and Little Rod says that he was recording Christian Combs during a music rap section, and the bad boys were at it, taking advantage, drinking, doing drugs, and sexual frolicking, and that one of the stewardess was attacked by Christian Combs, P. Diddy's son, and she was taken advantage of. So says Little Rod's lawsuit. Right? Let's move on to the next. According to Little Rod, Mr. Combs required everyone working on the Love album to take lace shots of DeLeon tequila. DeLeon, Deleon, is P. Diddy's brand, his own personal brand. But he was also the brand representative for Ciroc, a British alcoholic beverage. But DeLeon was his own personal brand, and P. Diddy reportedly wanted to push his own personal one so he can make more money. That is it, greediness. And this is reported that people like Little Rod and Cassie are not the real ones that brought Diddy down. That is the makers of that alcohol, Ciroc, that P. Diddy had a contract with, that got pissed off because P. Diddy wanted them to support him and push his own drink, DeLeon. And they got mad because they felt like Diddy had already made over $1 billion out of them. And why was he being greedy? And he was trying to blackmail them of some sorts. And that would make some sense because, P. Diddy has done a lot of horrible things, including alleged murders and involvement in such things, and even mysterious things like his ex-wife, Kim Porter, ex-baby mama. They were married, but they were together for over 13 years, had children for P. Diddy, including the twins. And she died mysteriously, even though the coroner said that She died from lobar pneumonia. This was in November of 2018. Um, Many of her relatives, her father, Kim Potter's father, Abby Shaw, her ex baby daddy, she was with him before P. Diddy stole her away from Abby Shaw. They had a baby together, a son. And Abby Shaw said that it was Kim died from suspicious situation. And there are also some allegations that the security people said they saw some blood stains on the sheets and also some bruises on Kim Porter. And even the first coroner has said that it was a mysterious, suspicious circumstances surrounding her death. But they got a second coroner, according to Jaguar and some other people that are close, that know about what's going on. But we're not going to speculate because I don't like speculations. We're just going to stay with what I know to be facts, which is what Little Rod is saying in his own, because he came out himself. And these are authentic documents because he filed it in a New York City district against Puff Daddy. So, Little Rod says there was no way I could tell him no. He says that P. Diddy asked them to drink De Leon. I don't know if it's to promote his drinks or is to, be able to get them inebriated so that he can take advantage of them, or so they can be loose and do the videos the way he wanted them to, just the way that most of all these rap artists and hip-hop artists like R. Kelly used to do, and get everyone to be loose and just do crazy things that will make their video go viral. I have no clue. But he said he couldn't refuse him, and so many people were afraid to say no to P. Diddy because if you said no, P. Diddy thought you were being suspicious and untrustworthy. At the time, Little Rod claims he had no idea the alcoholic beverages were laced, with ecstasy and other drugs. He did this to P. Diddy, that is, did this to obtain and maintain control over the individuals that were in the freak-offs. That was how he allegedly raped his victims and got others to cooperate with his sinister requests or sign contracts that kept them in bondage for years. People like Maze was very smart and he took off and he found God. I'll tell you in another video more about Maze and P. Diddy's relationship. And Cassie Ventura, P. Diddy's off and on interest for 10 years, was the catalyst that eventually got the ball rolling, that knocked out the blanket covering P. Diddy's monstrous mask. In her lawsuit of November 2023, the lawsuit listed crimes such as fact that she was beaten repeatedly, forced to have sex with other men while Puffy watched, and even orchestrated and directed the positions that the sexual workers and Cassie should be in. He taped this for his pleasure. And he was involved also, that is another crime that Cassie listed, in human trafficking and sexual trafficking. She allegedly said that he raped her in 2018 and several other things. She said that she was caught up in the circle of abuse, violence, and sex trafficking, and she, however, settled out of court, for $30 million, they said, although the amount wasn't really broadcast, but Cassie asked for $30 million, and in 24 hours, she dropped the case. It was settled. Cassie is now happily married to Alex Fine, and they have two wonderful children.